In the name of God the Almighty, peace to you. Today I will speak about salvation, what is salvation, and how we could get there. Salvation is a procedure of going from mortality to immortality. And it's actually a procedure or a return back home to where we come from or to where we're supposed to be. I'm not going now through the beginning of the creation and of everything and what is God and all things, because I have explained these things and gave answers about them in various videos before. So I will start from the moment that everybody agrees on that the humans that could speak and communicate through languages have been around for at least 50,000 years ago. So let us start with what everybody agrees on, which is the story of Adam and Eve. Because here I want to correct many things that people believe in because they read the Torah or the Bible. First of all, we have to understand that God giving us a chance to create our eternal selves the same way He created Himself. That means to start uh, a battle between goodness and evil, and that each and every one of us should reach a time when he uh, can have his good side in control, and uh, he will be wise enough to be a responsible being. That's how the eternal realm could be opened. So this chance we have been given, we are free, of course, to take it or not. So when you destroy yourself, you are giving in to the dark side, which is annihilation. And if you go on the good side, you are creating yourself for eternal existence. So this is a chance given to us like God created Himself. So we first of all we have to understand that everything in the physical existence or in every dimensional existence, including the energy existence, exist. I mean, there are four elements that form that existence we live in. They are the clay, the water, the fire, and the air. Okay? So God created first uh, an unseen beings of energy made of fire and air. And he gave each of one of them, or make a copy of them, made of clay and water, which are the humans. So we have the Jinni race and the human race. The Jinni first couple was called Lucifer and Lilith, and the first human couple were Adam and Eve. They are identical. That means Adam and Eve are just copies of the fiery beings, which are Lucifer and Lilith. So these are the shadow side, Lucifer and Lilith, and this is the human side, Adam and Eve. So the story of the tree, the forbidden tree, it's not, I have to explain here clearly and give you proof why it's not the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Because God, when He told Adam and Eve not to eat from the forbidden fruit, how He would have expected them to obey or to take his advice and not taking it slightly if they were already not knowledgeable of what's good and what's evil. That means how he would expect them to behave and take the good advice while they don't know if it's good or bad. That means how they have known that if they will eat the fruit, bad thing will happen or evil thing will happen to them. So they already know good and evil. So the tree was not the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It was the tree of mortality. They were immortals, and once they followed their shadow side's advice of Lucifer and Lilith, they ate the fruit and lost their immortal status. And they were sent down, all of them, to earth and made copy of them of different colors, just like the soil colors. You have black soils, red soils, white soils, etc. Also, the humans, they were made copies of couples, different colors. So all this explanation doesn't come from a Torah or the Bible. They got it wrong. I am explaining to you what is the more plausible story. So that's the beginning. So we have to understand that the beginning of our mortality started because we lost the trust of God. God do not trust us because we proved untrustworthy from day one. Okay? So we are going through now a procedure in order to regain back this trust. So God decided to give us this planet. If we can overcome our shadow side and rule it wisely and make it look like God's realm, that means peace, justice, love, care, mercy, unity, and all these things, oneness above everything else, then okay, we have won the test and we deserve to become immortals. So this is the salvation. This is what we should do to get salvation. Now, how we can do so in details. Each and every individual of any human being has a shadow being, as I said, a copy of him that exists in the energy realm or the shadow earth, or scientifically they call it electromagnetic field of the earth. However, it's just a parallel energetic world that exists just as a physical planet. There is also a shadowy planet. So we have to understand that each and every individual of us has individual duty to overcome his shadow self. That doesn't mean deny his shadow self. He has to use it, but wisely. That means if I want to use the creativity or the craziness a little bit of my shadow side, everything should be balanced in a way that I don't become destructive, I don't become greedy, I don't become fiery in my reactions. Everything should keep in check, and that requires an effort on a daily basis. Because as I said, we have to win back the trust of God. God already sent us a very, limited or very normal guidance, which are the commandments that could lead us in the right direction. That means we should not steal, we should not kill, we should not, commit adultery and all these things, in order not to fall for our shadow self. Because our shadow self will call us for our desire, will call us for our greed, will ignite all these bad things in us. So if we give in to them, we lose the test. Unfortunately, civilization after civilization, in cycle after cycle, humanity failed the test again and again and again. And now the civilization of children of Israel, which started with Moses and the Exodus, is now reaching the final years. And unfortunately, the vast majority of the world are have already totally almost gave in to the shadow side, because we are still having wars, we are still having divisions, we are still having injustice, we are still having greed, we are still having everything that God doesn't want to see in his realm. So you understand the point? So now what's going on? We have reached a level of corruption unprecedented. First of all, it's the first time in the history of this earth that a human population have reached almost 8 billion people. I mean, I was checking the numbers lately, and just on the New Year's Eve, 325,000 new babies were born. I mean, even now we are in the midst of the coronavirus crisis, and after a full year of that, people are just still getting pregnant and giving birth in such circumstances. How can you explain this to any sane mind that's either living on Earth or in outer space? How can someone responsible give birth to new children in such difficult circumstances? Can you explain this to me? Other than pure greed, pure ignorance, pure arrogance, pure, I don't know, stupidity. So we are definitely not ready to get our salvation as a species. However, of course, there are individuals who have fulfilled their potential to a high degree. But would they be enough to do the salvation for the entire world? If it was the case, Jesus would have done it 2,000 years ago. And of course, we have had many individuals like him, or maybe a little bit lesser than him, in goodness throughout the history of the human race. We have had great thinkers, great philosophers, great people who call for justice and peace and equality, not only in rights but also in responsibilities. So I don't know if God have appointed a specific time that there will be no other chance behind it. What's going to happen now? Because I think, as I said, the timer of the civilization that started with Moses is ticking now, the countdown, final countdown. So what's coming next? I don't know if it's another cycle of a civilization or it is a judgment day. That means everybody, the living and the dead, will be judged according to their deeds, and only the ones who have made it or have proven that they are trustworthy, they will become eternal. So, of course, this procedure is, or this, the future is in God's hands. But I'm explaining how to get to salvation. Now, if you want to ask me how we could still have a salvation in the coming few years that's left for us, you have to listen. And I'm talking here to people and to governments. You have to remove all borders, dissolve all armies, destroy all weapons. That's the first step. Then, destroy all cities and divide the land equally between the entire world population. That means each and every individual will have the same portion of possession and everything. Remove the monetary system completely. What does that mean? That means each individual will live for all humanity, and all humanity will live for each other. That means we all give our expertise and our products for free. We keep, and the transport system, we keep the cargo system and the public transport system only. No more individual and private cars. We keep the airport, we keep the plane, we keep the trains, we keep the buses, we keep the tracks. And of course, we take new measures regarding our culture, regarding we specific new areas for green spaces in order for the animals to come back to its satisfactory habitat again. So all these measures should be taken in account, and now we believe that we have a big deal of knowledge of how to save a balanced ecosystem and a balanced atmosphere for our species future. If all these measures were taken and applied in the coming 5 to 10 years, we will be saved and we will gain immortality. And you will see, if you start taking these measures, that God will not allow any more women to give birth, and we will gain immortality, and we will have even the death back to life. And also God could activate for us new planets and give us more knowledge, because everything comes from him, from the source. But that once we prove that we are loving each other equally, we are one, literally, not, I know many people are just saying slogans. For example, here in Scotland, we have seen in the New Year's Eve people saying we are one, and the show when